Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, a game that came out of nowhere, surprised almost everyone, and delivered one of the most heartfelt, hilarious, and downright fun superhero stories in years. But why did this game even exist? How did Eidos Montreal go from Deus Ex to Space Raccoons and the 80s mixtapes? Let's go back and take a look at how this incredible title came to be and why it matters. Marvel Games had a vision: bring their universe into the hands of top-tier developers. No more quick cash-ins. They wanted real, character-driven AAA titles. And after the success of Insomniac's Spider-Man, Marvel signed a multi-game deal with Square Enix, but instead of unified universe, they wanted each team to do their own thing. After the criticism surrounding Avengers' live service approach, Square Enix wanted something different, something bold and narrative-driven. That's where Eidos Montreal came in. See, Eidos Montreal had something to prove. They were coming off of Deus Ex Mankind Divided, a critically acclaimed title that still felt incomplete. With Guardians, they wanted to make something whole, personal, and authored. They pitched the Guardians of the Galaxy game as a single-player experience focused on character, choice, and story. Marvel loved the pitch and gave the team full creative freedom. Rather than copying the MCU, they created their own version of the Guardians. Familiar, just slightly different. New designs, deeper traumas, fresh dynamics. They even reworked Peter Quill's backstory to give the game emotional depth. They focus on ensemble storytelling in every detail, from dialogue, interruptions, and ambient conversations. It was all tailored to reflect the emotional state of the group. This wasn't just getting the Guardians right, it was about making them feel real. Here's the twist though, you only play as Star-Lord, and that choice wasn't just gameplay design, it was thematic. You're the leader, you don't do everything, but you rally the team. So think of them as a band. Peter's the front man, flashy, imperfect, emotional, but he's only as good as the team backing him up. Even down to the huddle mechanic, where instead of it just being a power boost, it was a reflection of how Quill keeps the chaotic team together, with awkward pep talks, bad metaphors, and everything in between. Each Guardian is mapped to a single button. It sounds simple, but in practice, it's like everyone trying to get their own instruments to do what they're trying to do and harmonize everything together in a jam session. Not everything's gonna work, but when you find those right things that synergize together, now you got something special. Now I'm getting off topic, but it's the same situation. You want to find the right combos with each character's special abilities and combo off of them to make life easier for you when you're defeating enemies. Especially considering you have to juggle cooldowns from every character. And Star-Lord's elemental blasters aren't just flashy tricks either. They force you to adapt. Ice to freeze shields, wind to yank snipers, and so on and so forth. It's like figuring out a puzzle mid-combat. From Rocket's gravity bomb to Gamora's multi-strike attack, it's all about chaining combos and finding your own rhythm. Some abilities are stronger than others, and I stuck to the ones that did the job, with quick cooldowns and team synergy. The combat overall is simple yet satisfying. Every enemy has a stagger meter, you stun them, you combo them, and you take them out. And yes, even with the huddle mechanic, it lets you rally the team together, but half the time I forgot it existed. Outside of combat, exploration is more linear, and that's alright. This game didn't need to have an open world where you're sitting here spending 60 hours to explore all these various planets and figure out every nook and cranny. It didn't need all that. Each Guardian plays a role. Groot lives, Rocket hacks, Gamora slices, and Drax smashes. The game even rewards you with small moments of team growth, like when they start acting without even you commanding them. Visually, the game is very nice to look at. It doesn't have a dozen planets, but the ones you do have, they feel distinct from each other. Especially Nowhere, which serves as Space Night City. And environments like this make me wish there was more to see. Maybe even a secret boss or two. Of course, it wouldn't be Guardians without music. The game mixes licensed 80s hit with original tracks from a fictional band called Storlord. Needless to say, the music wasn't just background, it was a part of the soul of the game. The story is broken down into 16 chapters, and among these chapters, I break them down into 3 different arcs. The first, probably 1 to 6 chapters, I call the Misfits, where the team isn't really just the team just yet. From chapter 7 to about halfway through chapter 12, I call it Broken People, and you'll understand that in a second. And from the other half of chapter 12 to the end of the game, I call this the Guardians arc. But the game doesn't start you in space. Instead, we start in Peter's old bedroom, the kind of 1980s cluttered nostalgia that defines who he is. This intro isn't about blasting aliens, it's about a memory, loss, and music. It's our first signal that this isn't just a superhero story, it's a personal. Fast forward, we're with the Guardians, broke, arguing, and hunting a monster in the quarantine zone. This chapter is pure vibes, banter, team mechanics, and early combat, but it also sets the tone. These guys aren't the Guardians yet. After accidentally releasing an entity that ironically ended their quarry, the team escapes from the quarantine zone where they get caught by Novacore. And this is where we meet Nikki and Corell. And from the looks of it, Peter's past just got a whole lot messier. There's awkward tension on top of Peter trying to figure out whether or not Nikki is his daughter. Oh, and that's right, we got a huge fine. So what's the desperate plan we have laid out in front of us? Either sell Rocket or Groot to Lady Hellbender to pay for the fine. Depending on who you sell, the plan either goes really great or goes to hell really fast. But either way, this is the Guardians' first real bonding exercise where they have to sneak, brawl, and escape from Lady Hellbender's castle. After escaping, the Guardians try and go to the Rock to pay for a fine, but when they get there, there's no one there. And everything is looking a little weird and everyone wants to get out of Dodge. But Peter, trying to keep the peace between them and Novacore, he presses on. But tensions peak. Rocket stops taking orders, and if you push him earlier, he'll snap. This chapter lets you choose. You follow Rocket's path or you stick with Peter. Either way, the team is fractured. And after escaping the Rock, after witnessing Novacore members executing other Novacore members, Rocket downright just quits the team. When you get to nowhere, Rocket jumps ship and forcibly takes Groot with him, leaving the team just down to Peter, Gamora, and Drax. And while on their way to go talk to Cosmo, the space dog, about what's happening in Novacore, Gamora and Drax go off and do their own thing, leaving Peter to traverse through all of nowhere to get to Cosmo's tower. While he's there, he gets accosted by 2 bounty hunters trying to take the bounty on his head. Did they really think Lady Hellbender wasn't gonna get her get back? Come on now, seriously. With help from Gamora and Drax, the team stalls long enough for Cosmo to subdue everyone and put them in prison. And after waking up in prison, we see Rocket and Groot getting detained from a botched mission, where we immediately come into contact with Cosmo, start explaining what's happening with Novacore, and Peter volunteers to send the Guardians to go find out further information, leading the team to return back to Novacore's ship, Hala's Hope. It's empty. Too empty, save for the poor sod left in the cell to rot by himself. Rocket and Quill's conflict simmers, but clues point to something worse. Mass ritual draining life from entire planets. And at the center of all of it, Nikki. Grand Unifier Raker takes everyone to the heart of his ship to meet the matriarch. She's consumed by something called the Promise, a psychic manipulation showing people the deepest desire. What is Peter's deepest desire? He lives his perfect fantasy. His mother's alive and the Guardians are all together, but it's a trap. And breaking free means choosing reality over comfort. And it's heartbreaking.
Of course it's me, sweet.
This isn't right.
Please. Please.
Now, Peter. While it's distracted, we can reach Nikki. She needs our help. Hurry!
After barely escaping the Promise and Raker's ship, the team is in dire straits. and Drax starts acting strange, quiet and withdrawn. And Gamora mains Raker but doesn't finish the job. This also shows that the cracks are spreading. Finally getting in contact with Cosmo, he tells them to go to the World Mind and asks them for help. And when they do get there, the World Mind tells them that they know what's happening and the collective conscious has no intention of help. And when they jump ship, the Universal Church of Truth pulls up immediately after and starts conforming everyone to the promise, leading the Guardians to get out of Dodge, which results in the Milano malfunctioning and leaving the Guardians stranded in space. And this is where everyone in the team has a full-blown meltdown because no one knows what to do and everything's just going to shit. After a much-needed nap to reset, Peter wakes up and finds out Drax has accepted the promise. But luckily, guided by Mantis, the team has landed on Lamentis to save Drax. With the team having to fight literal manifestations of their own emotional baggage, we get a glimpse into Rocket's backstory and why he hates water so much. See, while on Half-World, Rocket spent a lot of time in fluid while being experimented upon, so it's only natural that he hates water because of that same ties to how he was treated. However, with the team in dire situation, Rocket faces the music and dives headfirst into water to save the rest of the Guardians. This breaking the chains that bind him to his past and allows him to move forward and grow as a character. But we're not done in this dank cave, as we finally get to the end where we finally meet Adam Warlock. Mantis sends everyone into Drax's mind, where we find him living a dream with his wife and daughter. However, we have to break that illusion, and Peter gives him the talk. It's gentle, honest, and it's devastating. They're asking a man to leave behind his wife and daughter. And I don't have kids. From an outside perspective, I can understand what Drax was feeling in this moment. And it's probably one of the hardest things he's ever had to do in his life.
Are you hurt, Papa?
Talk to us, love.
I will cherish the time that we had, and not resent the time that we lost. Shall love and honor you both. Always.
Managing to get Drax back, heading back to nowhere, it's overrun by believers, but the Guardians are holding strong, seeing as their bonds are getting tighter. That is until Gamora has a full-blown crash out and explains that she's the one that killed Nebula, and she doesn't believe that the team would really openly welcome a monster amongst them. But the rest of the team reassures her, and they all have a group hug.
The matriarch's promise.
That's how I knew it was a lie. The Nebula I knew had been twisted into a hateful, vengeful monster thing. One who would never stop unless I stopped her. So I did. I just never expected to survive.
Why didn't you say something?
It's not exactly a conversation starter. Hi, I'm Gamora. I murdered my sister. Can we be friends? Of course we can't. How can you be friends with a monster? Why would you want that on your team? A team I actually kind of enjoyed being on, all things considered.
Well, I hate Nebula, so I actually would have... What? I'm just saying it don't change nothing.
Actually, it changes everything. The most deadly woman in the galaxy just admitted she loves us.
I did not.
You did. You said you were in love with us right after the part about killing your sister.
I said I enjoyed your company.
That is the Catathian definition of love.
Like. I'll give you like. Can we just move on?
Agreed. That's about all the love fest I can take.
We accept you, Gamora Zenoburi.
Pretty sure we're married now.
This is excruciating.
All right, I'm pretty sure we've all caught our breath. Let's say we go stop a nutjob cult leader.
Yes.
And this is where the team finally becomes the Guardians of the Galaxy. This is where everything starts homogenizing and the team becomes whole. In a sense, this is where they start cooking. However, while still traversing through nowhere, Cosmo's trapped in a promise, and instead of using fists and guns, they use dialogue. However, I believe that there is a secret boss where you can fight Cosmo because he's trapped in his promise. I never experienced it, but if I'm not mistaken, that is a thing that is possible. After freeing Cosmo, we head off of nowhere, and it's time to get allies. So, we slay a dragon. The team fights Fin Fan Foom in an icy battle that leads them to having Lady Hellbender, or as I call her, Lady Cheeksbender, join forces with them to stop the Universal Church of Truth. The war is on. Cheeksbender, Cosmo, and the World Mind back us up in a massive assault on Raker's flagship. And depending on the choices you made earlier in the game, these allies can make or break key battles.
Cosmo, is that you in there?
Da, spasiba, Guardian of Galaxies, for helping Cosmo shake away promise. He is no longer chasing stick that is snake. And look, Cosmo is bringing nowhere.
Yeah, we noticed.
And family. Say privet, my pops.
It's good to have you back, buddy.
Ha! Cosmo is very much like filthy fleas. You are thinking he is gone until he is biting on your ass.
He's such a good boy.
Нет, Cosmo is best of boys. Now we give these brain fleas the bites they deserve. Attack!
After making it to the heart of the ship, they're able to free Adam Warlock and finally confront Grand Unifier Raker. And as a result of this, Peter gets pulled into Nikki's promise one last time, where he learns some harsh truths.
I heard your voice. No, you brought me here. I'm seeing you here now.
You're seeing a ghost. Some part of me is inside the Soul Stone, but not in any way that's real.
We can figure it out. Maybe we can find a way.
You need to focus on her now. Help her accept that I'm not coming back.
I wish you would have told me.
Told you what?
About Nikki. You know? You, me, 12 years ago.
Oh, Peter.
I did the math.
Her promise isn't real.
Yeah, I know, but the rest of it is. Right? You and me on Mercury? I remember that night.
So do I. But she isn't your daughter. She's not my daughter.
I don't understand.
She's a war orphan. On the shuttle home, the Kree Council was rounding up anyone who wasn't full-blooded enough. Nikki was this tiny little thing. I couldn't let them kill her.
So I'm not a father.
No. Well, not her father.
Well. Okay.
That doesn't mean she doesn't need you.
She's not his daughter, nor is she Corell's daughter. Nikki's just a scared kid who lost everything, and Peter accepts that and helps her let go. With Nikki free, Adam containing the Magus, the Guardians beat Raker and everything seems to be alright, until it proves to be too much for Adam Warlock to contain, resulting in us having to fight the Matrix one last time and seal him away for good. And it's over. Nikki joins the crew, everyone jokes, argue, laugh, like always. The galaxy's still a mess, but this family of disasters is still stronger than ever. This is why the story works. It never forgets to care about pain, growth, and choosing a hard path. And in doing so, it tells one of the best superhero stories in years. Here's what stuck with me though. The game isn't just about lasers and quips and all this other shit. It's about people healing. And there's a Japanese art called kitsugi. It's the practice of repairing broken pottery with gold. The idea is that the cracks become part of the beauty. The object is more valuable because it was broken and made whole again. And that's exactly what this game is. Each Guardian is cracked in some way, grieving, angry, afraid. But by the end, those breaks are what bind them together. And they don't hide the pain. They grow from it, and that's what makes them family. Despite low sales at launch, critics and fans praised the game for its writing, voice acting, and emotional arcs. It even won Best Narrative at the Game Awards in 2021. So, in short, this wasn't just a funny space adventure. It was about grief, trust, identity, and what it means to find a family when you've lost everything. And after winning the Best Narrative, the game found a second life. Word of mouth carried it, and to this day, fans beg for a sequel, despite Square Enix selling off Eidos shortly after. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is the kind of game that lives in moments, between the action, in the silences, and the choices you make. It's not perfect, but it's special, and like the best found family stories, it stays with you. When this game first launched, most people expected it to flop. But what we got instead was one of the best superhero stories in games in years. A great design, a heartfelt story, and none of that DLC BS. Just a complete, meaningful experience. And that's all that matters. But that's all I got for y'all today. If you enjoyed this, please feel free to drop a like, subscribe for more of these, and comment down below what your favorite Guardians moment was. And I'll catch y'all later.